Toma uno.
Herzlich willkommen bei Wein am Limit, liebe Walinauten. Ihr habt es gesehen, hier wird heute Spanisch gesprochen. Wir wechseln gleich auf Englisch. Wir haben Besuch im Wein am Limit Pool von Roberto Henriquez aus Itata, which is in Chile, and Bio Bio. That sounds very exotic. First of all, thanks for being and coming all the way to Hamburg.
Yeah, thank you for support us. Really important, and thank you.
Roberto, can you tell us where in Chile are you? Because Chile is a pretty long country. It's 4,000 miles or something. One of the longest on planet Earth.
Yes. Well, we are in the middle south of Chile. It's like if we can separate Chile, it's like Pacific Ocean, and then a small coastal range with not high elevation. And then we have the middle valley, and then the Andes, La Cordillera de los Andes, and next Argentina. And we are central middle south, and Itata Valley, Bio Bio Valley, and located in the coastal range.
Wow, so that sounds like you are exposed to cool air and cool water.
Yeah. There is a special climate here. Imagine Itata was the first valley planted 400 years ago, and next to the ocean, there is some farm or countryside that are located 20 kilometers next to the Pacific, and it's the first one valley in Chile next to the ocean. It's very fresh and is south also. The latitude is, for understand a little bit, it's like Bio Bio, it's like La Loire.
Okay.
And for understand the climate or the environment.
So that means cool climate, but let's say when we talk about Chile, we talk about the Central Valley, of course. Well, especially in Germany, we know many wines from the Central Valley, and then we know, of course, the wines from Aconcagua, from Maipo, maybe from Casablanca. In other words, not many people know of your region, but it seems like you got basically buried under a lot of history.
Yeah. Well, how I said in the beginning, is the first valley is planted in Chile. It's the oldest one are Itata and Bio Bio Maule, and finally these lands were the heart of the production in Chile. I am talking about in the 18th centuries, and the wine in this area was like the water for the country, for the industry in the north, the mines. Include exporting wine in that time to Europe, to North America also. In a moment everything changed, and finally this place start to be more than a famous area, start to be a little bit hidden, relegate, and unfortunately with we had to pass 200 years old. Now we are moving a little bit, pushing ahead the movement, but it's a forgotten, hidden, relegated.
A movement means how many people are you? Like, is your group of people who basically decided to work and make wine here? Or basically, wine was probably always been made, but now in a different style.
Yeah, there is now. I think there is some person or family that started this. 10 families pushing, but now are coming many producers, small ones, 2,000 bottles, 5,000 bottles, 1,000 bottles. Little projects are involved with the tourism. Finally, with the energy or trying finally to go back and recover the farm work, and that's important because. Unfortunately, this area, Itata and Bio Bio, represent the 10% of the total volume in Chile, talking about grapes, kilograms, but was just mainly for sell the grapes, and the more biggest wineries in Chile will work with this grape. But now it's different because we are working in detail, right? It's representing grapes, and
now they're under the label basically of the region. Yes,
exactly.
Let's start with the wine. I mean, that was like a good introduction, but we can talk a bit more about this. And this is your first wine. It's a wine I think Eric Asimov in the New York Times wrote about it, and called Ribera del Notro.
Yes,
well, that's a very Italian, exotic name almost.
Well, Ribera del Notro. Ribera, is the place that the river flow, right? That's mean Ribera. And Notro is the Chilean tree. It's one of my favorite tree because in the spring start to grow some beautiful red flowers, and Ribera del Notro, well, it's a fantasy name that was the beginning of us. Was the first wine what we made. We made Notro Red and Notro White. And well, this is a white blend with the most planted whites in Itata. The coastal area, call it Coelemu, Guariliwe, and Rafael. There is Moscatel de Alejandría, Chasselas, we call it Corinto, bad named, but it's Chasselas, and Semillon. And in promedio, in average, the vines has plus or less 100 years old vines.
Wow, super aromatic. First of all, the site is a little bit interesting. Like, let's say, the color is a golden, a straw golden color with a little bit of orange, and the flavor is beautiful. You get a lot of the Moscatel flavor, which is more like a peach and flower and things like this. Yeah,
it's interesting blend because sometimes my own perception is some days, for example, the green pepper, it's more present.
There is more green pepper.
Yeah, the Semillon.
Well, that's good that you came all the way to Chile to tell me, but you're right, there's green pepper.
Semillon now is like trying to show their own personality, but some days the terpenic things about Moscatel, because it's a terpenic grape, start to show more the floral thing, the skin of some, I don't know, more chelid fruits, right? And then Chasselas is a grape that is the first in ripe and with low alcohol always, because it's the rhythm of the Chasselas. You cannot take high alcohol levels just for loose water, but if you cut the Chasselas in the precise moment, it has a great balance between acidity and low sugar. And finally, the how you taste Chasselas is like a thin, it's delicate, and refresh finally this blend. So it's aromatic blend. But Chasselas,
little bit like in France, they use, for example, claret in the south of France to fresh the wine, to make it more precise, to lower the alcohol level. And I find a lot of on the taste. I find it pleasantly bitter. Pleasantly bitter means that it's good. There is a good tartness. Then there is. It's not super long or rich, but it's very linear. It's quite fresh, and I mean, salty or mineral. I mean, that's something how I would define this. But this is something I think many people don't know, that Chile could produce wine like this, because many people know Oki Chardonnay, very very fruity Sauvignon Blanc. I mean, that's the two white varieties we know. So this has to do a lot with the DNA of your country.
Yeah, and represent some really important are old vines, ungrafted vines, without irrigation. You cannot get in with machines or tractors.
So all by hand.
All by hand.
Hecho a mano.
Hecho a mano.
Hecho a mano. My Spanish gets better. You have to stay another week in my Spanish. No, but that's fantastic. What would you serve it with?
I like this personally with soups, with seafood soups.
Like stew? Stew?
Yeah, with ceviches. It's really good.
Thank you. Another one. Okay, I'm cooking tonight. But you're right. I mean, it could use some. The ceviche has a South American cuisine is quite acidic and has always a good freshness to it, and I think this would go perfectly. And then with the ethereal smell, wow.
Yeah, it's good. No, for ceviche, 100%.
Let's go. Let's proceed. That's, I would say, a great introduction into all the disbelievers of, well, you're working quite natural, and of the disbelievers that Chile can only produce, let's say, international wines. This is, I would say, more domestic wine, because it's really something which you can't find anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's very, has a great own personality about the conditions, how the vines grow. That's important to transmit. For example, this, for instance?
Yeah, I hope it's okay. I know it must be very difficult for you because you're producing this wine. Every drop is... Okay, that's the difference. Did you see? One is drinking, the other one is spilling.
Well, yeah, it's important to transmit that these vines has a great personality because live in some special soil, special areas. For example, this País Franco, it's an old vineyard located in Biobío, has 200 years old vines, but in front of the volcano Antuco that we have, had a great explosion of the magma, and the ash, and finally the Biobío rivers bring, I'm talking about 10,000 years ago, bring the ash and the sand, the black sandy, and this vineyard is planted next to the Biobío river, like 500 meters next to the river.
So it gets a little climate, microclimate.
Yeah.
Soil is volcanic. So it's rather a good fertile soil, but which is good for wine growing. I mean, volcanic wines have a special...
It's a really poor soil. This soil it's light. It's not a heavy soil, but it's very impressive because it's black and it's not common. Usually in the coastal range where are located the vineyards in Maule, Tate, and Biobío, mostly is granite. Okay. But this is some special soil, País Franco. It's other expression of país, very particular, in a very beautiful area called Mijapoa, that in Mapudungun, the Mapuche language, means like, it's like a vientre, but it's a stomach goal, because the small river get to the big one river, and a lot of
basically gathering. Wow. Yeah. But the site is like very cloudy, so and the nose is very delicate. I get like lots of rhubarb and raspberry and rather a red fruit character, but a very delicate nose. And País is Criollo.
In Argentina they call it Criolla. Criolla. It's the same DNA. Criolla in Argentina, Negra in Peru, Mission in United States, California, Mexico. And in Chile we call it país, mainly. Some old farmers call it chilena, but mainly país. It's the same origin of Listán Prieto from Canarias in Spain. That is the origin.
Wow! Finally. So it has many names, but for one style. So it was used as the variety to travel with the padres to South America, and to basically get planted for the people for religious reasons at the beginning.
Yeah. This was the most planted variety in Chile 50 years ago, and then there is a conversion of the viticulture in Chile, but we had a lot of these vines. It has a great adaptation to many lands, to many terroir.
Wow, it's also quite. I wouldn't say austere, but there is a good grip to this wine. I mean, and this probably it really needs some food. You can drink it by itself.
Una empanada.
Empanada?
Sí, con una empanada.
Yeah.
Or una sopa, una cazuela. Or some beans with sausages. For us, it's like our wine that is with us every day. You put the cork and then you still drinking in the night, and then, you know, it's a really cultural wine in Chile, país.
It does have like a strawberry flavor to it, which I like. But it's very delicate. So it's like not these heavy duty wines, which we know from Chile, which have a lot of fruit, a lot of sun, a lot of oak in many cases. This is just the opposite.
Yeah, refresh.
Yeah.
País Franco has this harvest has 13. Yeah, has a little bit more alcohol this season, Franco. But in general, País, how I feel when I taste, it's like always refresh your palate. For example, there is some place outside, not in Chile, that use the país with the beef and grill and barbecue for the reason that you can eat a lot and you can refresh all the time with this style of wine. It's I think thin and delicate red for drink.
I think this is like a wine for me. You are sitting there with friends, have a good time, a little chill in the wine, you know, good food on the table and not so super complicated, but quite sophisticated.
Yeah, and it smells like farm. It smells like soil, you know. For me, it's like a very, I don't know, inspirational wine. When I taste it, I drink a lot of país in Chile. It's my main focus in our work that we make. And when I taste other wines outside, or I miss país when I'm not drinking.
I would say if you look in Europe for equivalents, you might go to the Southern Rhone. You find some wines made from Grenache, or you go to the Beaujolais district. Maybe there is some similarities, I'd say, because or to the Loire maybe with the Cabernet Franc. But in that area of, let's say, light and lifted and, well, I think temporary wines. This is what it is. So we have here a very special wine from you, called Tierra de Puma.
Tierra de Pumas, yes. Tierra de Pumas.
Pumas, yeah, it's plural, yes.
Means cougar's land, and Mapudungun, it means Nahuel Vuta, and I talk about coastal range, but when finish the coastal range, start in Casablanca Valley and finish in Biobío.
Yeah.
But this coastal range, when start to grow from Biobío, going south to the Imperial River, we have 300 kilometers of this coastal range, but change the topographies with take more elevation. Can take in the best point, in the top point, take 1,300 meters. And it's like a special spot because it's live the 55% of the species natives that grow or live in Chile. It's like a habitat island, right? And the same nature that you can find in the Cordillera de los Andes, some special trees live in this area. And this block of vineyard is located in the beginning of the Cordillera, the Nahuel Vuta, next to the Biobío River. It's granite. And it's very special land because, well, Tierra de Pumas in honor of the Pumas, because unfortunately today the forestry is too intense, the big activity of main companies of wood there, very invasive, and the problem is our nature is a little bit
diminishing.
Not a little bit, it's almost extincted about the pumas in our area. And it's beautiful. There is puma also, but when you see a puma, it's like hidden with a scare because he don't feel comfortable in our area in this moment. But wait, it's a país. The oldest país that we produce, 200 years old vines, 250 years old, 250 años. And
250-year-old.
250.
So they were planted in 1900, 1800, something, 1800, no?
1860, I mean, yeah.
1860?
No, 1870.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's long.
Yeah, in the disaster of the phylloxera in Europe, these vineyards were planted.
That was when there was the war in North America, the Civil War at that time. Okay, well, it doesn't taste that old, I have to say, like the Civil War. It doesn't taste as bloody as the Civil War. But what I find about this wine is it's a bit like a Pinot Noir can be. It's a little more straight. It's a little bit more focused. Wow. Yeah. So is this kind of like your special wine to you, I guess?
Yeah, it's
because it's special terroir.
It's our main countryside, our main farm that we have, where it's located the all new winery. We are thinking and build the new one, and where exists other grapes hidden, like old Trincadeira we discovered 2 years ago.
A Portuguese variety.
Yeah, for Portugal, and all Pre-phylloxera Pinot Noir, 250 years old. Oh. And what else? We found Listan Blanco. Listan Blanco is not common in Chile. It's existed, but nobody told to us this is Listan Blanco. It's like we had to pass this plant by genetics for analyze the DNA. And it's crazy because it's like a reservoirium area, these lands. And well, it's an amazing place. And I'm very happy with this wine because the first vintage was 2019, and now the result of if we compare the vintage, now there is, well, more intensity in the wine and appear like some Syrah character, I don't know, herbs. It's really intense. It's a very particular place. I think I'm very happy because the place is showing every year this is the character of Tierra de Pumas now, and repeat 2021, 22 is well, you'll take.
Well, you have 250 years before. You can do everything in 5 or 4 years. You know? I guess you need to really recover these vineyards and
exactly
to get them straightened out like you want to work with them.
Yeah, but what's a big surprise between the first one vintage and the second was the results were coming really fast.
Wow.
And well, it's beautiful area. It's an amazing spot, this Tierra de Pumas.
Very impressive. Last word, these wines called Pipeño, or is it Pipeño style? So maybe you can just give us a short insight. Like, I mean, if one reads Pipeño on the label, then what should he expect, or what could it be?
Okay, for me, Pipeño means came from pipas, and the pipas it's main barrels. Okay. And our old artisan made pipas or barrels from raulí. Raulí is the name of the wood. It's very local. It's just in Chile, and it's our own culture that we produce this style of wine in the 80s or the 70s. Was the imagine a big market, these pipas or barrels passing onto the boat, get into the train, and a big market with these barrels. What's the market? Not sell by bottles, sell by barrel, this wine. Pipa, it's like a pipa, it's very similar with Pipeño. It's the origin of Pipeño name. So, Pipeño Blanco, Pipeño White, Pipeño Red, Pipeño Tinto, mainly from País Pipeño, the red, and the white from Moscatel de Alejandría, and some areas in Maule, Torontel. Yes, it's our own traditional winemaking style. It's the stem, punch down the skin, finish the alcoholic fermentation, and rack, and keep the wine in these barrels, call it pipas, and in Rauli, and the open wood Rauli tank, punch down day by day. The most old farmers is really, how to say, it's really a fantastic era from them. It's the sometimes they define the wine. I'll be a little bit more technical about the material, about the winemaking, but they say it's the most pure wine that you can make. It's just crush,
so
punch.
What the French would say as artisanal. Artisanal.
Artesanal.
Artisanal.
Artesanal,
yes.
sí.
Yes.
Artesano, sí.
Like artesano. Yeah.
Sí.
Yeah. Well, this is like a little bit going back in history, and thanks for the explanation. I think Pipeño, this is a very special style of Pipeño,
Yeah.
a more, let's say, sophisticated one, but you can have it in a very rural and very,
the method of
basic style.
Pipeño we use, the method of Pipeño, we are really close. For example, the white is the skin contact maceration, and for us it's not orange, it's our white with skin contact, that's all.
I get it.
And take the alcoholic fermentation, that's all. We keep our legacy for make this, and of course we are more, we have present some details, but independently is the same process.
Talking about legacy, so if you ever want to taste, that's my opinion, you want to taste the soul of South American winemaking, you have to taste these wines. I think that's very important. I mean, there is other good stuff around, new stuff, but I think in terms of a historical wine, I wouldn't say not only for South America, even for the world.
Yeah,
it seems like you are a nature preserve for many varieties, which are almost extinct, basically. So you're not only a winemaker, you are botanist.
We try.
And you're also a historian. And and then also you have to be a father and, make your living from it.
Yeah. We try to do our best all the time. Many things to work, and preserve.
I think you should taste these wines, guys. And if not, don't worry. But if you have, you feel the soul. Not the soul of Roberto, you feel the soul of Chile. Thank you.
Thank you.